Every day it's gonna be another person. But I am so excited to talk to you guys today because three important, well, got so many important updates for you. The first thing being today is the last module before you are officially clear of all the six-figure systems. This evening, all of the other bonuses and guest speakers are going to be released to you at 3 o'clock Eastern. So they are coming, just a heads up, very exciting news. The second thing I want to announce is that we are unofficially halfway through. So I would love for you guys to pull a Bon Jovi and book your midway one-on-one calls. You guys have access to it. It is the note that I made yesterday. Feel free to, and I'll show you where that is. I'm like, also, thank you, Tammy. I was like, I appreciate that. And I have an update about like not being on top of things, but we're working through it and we're figuring it out. So within the one-on-one calls, this is a chance to book it. And I would love to share, it'll just take you to my regular Acuity. I told my last group that I'm going to be opening up some calls on Thursday and Friday of this week, along with next week. So if you don't see a time available, never fear. Even if you have to book out further, it's not like this is our last month. So we've got plenty of time and you can utilize that one-on-one call whenever you need it within the program. So feel free to book it within your time here. The other thing that, oh my God, there's so many updates. Feel free to give me your feedback. Also in yesterday's update, I had been doing these, here it is, like all these weekly wins and these updates. And what I had planned on doing is sending this to my, amazing new VA and being like, hey, can you just like do this? And then I'll get a chance to like look over things. And if anybody had any updates or things like that, that was a plan for her. And she was not able to start for a week. And she's not actually going to be able to take on this until April. So with that being said, I am going to add it back onto my to-dos and I didn't do it this week. So apologies. I looked over yours before we got started and they're coming back in just a less on it way. The other thing that I wanted to mention, again, before we get into this last one, and actually I've got another thing I want to add. In my last group, we were talking about like just visibility at the very beginning. And I'm going to send this to all of you. This is from like a reel I saw from Shy Strategies. And I'm going to start posting some more of these things. You saw I posted one the other day about like using chat to create content. So with the Shy Strategies, it was just like what you need to do to like make sure that your profile actually gets seen, make sure it's getting cross posted. So I'm going to send that to you guys at the end of the call. Again, there's like a lot of updates, so just bear with me, guys. Like it's not usually, it's not usually this update heavy. However, one of the things that I did this week, if you guys haven't seen my one on my Q&A that I did, I really thought about like what are my potential buyers not asking? What if I were to read their mind? Why haven't they booked consults with me? And I just got like really curious. And I'm like, maybe they're wondering why they should hire a systems coach over another type of business coach. Maybe they're wondering, is this program for them or is it not for them? Who is this program for? I was like, why does it include mindset coaching if it takes just 3 months to get through the systems? These are kind of like generic, like what kind of support do I get? What does it look like behind the scenes, one-on-one or mastermind? But I got like really like nitty gritty and I was like, what do I do to guarantee results? Why do you only talk about these certain pillars? How fast will I get results? Why should I do a consult now? Why did I start business coaching? Why is this going to get me faster than any other program I invest in? What if I don't want to do things the way you teach them? Is this the best use of my resources? How do you track progress? And I put down here, I'm like, I would love for you guys to make a list. You don't have to. It's not like a requirement, but I put here and I'm like, I would highly recommend everyone make a list of 10 questions that your potential clients have for you. And like in my last call, I had a one of the people in that group was like, I don't even know, like, why haven't they booked a consult? And I'm like, then use mine and answer it for yourself. Figure out 10 viable questions, like, why haven't they booked consults? Let's get clear, answer it in your marketing, and then more people will come. And if you want to do like a Q&A call after a webinar or at the end of your webinars, I would highly recommend doing that as well. Objections. One of the things that I've noticed in myself and with other people, I think I've mentioned this, but it's not in the module, so I just wanted to restate it. For the objections, I had a list of all the objections that I got at the beginning. This is from, I think if we were to look at the dates, it's like from 2021. Yeah. I made a copy of this, but still. The OG one was from a long time ago. So if you are thinking about like another way to get good marketing, would be like, what objections do they have? Write that in your posts, in the hot posts, be subliminally answering it in the warm. Make sure that you're talking about this in your consults, in your marketing. And then when people get on consults, you're not going to feel as weird about it. The last piece I want to give you, which is a lot of information, is there is something that my coach told me about, which I'd never heard of, as the 4 types of buyers. So a lot of times I think that we think to do marketing and answer objections for ourselves, right? It's like we're thinking about like, okay, how do I buy? And how are they receiving my marketing? Like, what kind of marketing do I need to give? And I want to offer that within your marketing and things like that, you want to be addressing not just you as a potential client, but like anyone on the planet that would be a good fit for you, which means that you need to understand the psychology behind different types of buyers and what motivates people to take action. So there is the expressive buyer, and you'll probably be able to figure out who you are as I read these. These are essentially people who want to be sold to. They want to feel individualized. They want to be seen, heard, and validated, and they want to see the big picture. So with these, in order to sell to these buyers, we want to be painting the vision for what it's like to work with you X amount of time later in your marketing and when you're talking to them about objections. So this is something I am not an expressive buyer. I don't really need to see the big picture. That's not who I am. But I'm recognizing, oh, I need to be like talking, not just in my consults, but in my copy. By September, I want your business to look unrecognizable. Here's how it's going to shift. Every morning, you're going to wake up and you're going to feel this. And it's like, that doesn't thrill me. That doesn't motivate me into action. But I betcha some of you guys on this call probably are motivated in that way. So it's worth adding to your marketing. I'm a doer. I'm quick and to the point. That's 100% who I am. And if I see, I think it's interesting that like, this is my buying style. And I literally talked with a friend on Friday and she was like, I've got this mastermind. Here's the format. And I was like, do you like it? And she's like, yep. And I'm like, perfect. I was like, a recommendation from someone I trust. And I'm like, I'm literally like about to probably spend 15K to be like, can you teach me how to strategically set up a team to scale to 7 figures in the way that you have it? Like, that would be awesome. So it's just someone who I'd never even heard of before. And I was like, okay, like I just had one person tell me, this is the results I've gotten. I've been in this program for a week and I'm like, I'm in. And so I'm like, very much like, if I hear something that's like I ask my friends, I'm like, who are you learning from? What kind of things are you getting? And that's very much how I buy. If I see more testimonials on people's pages, I buy. Within the Amical people, these are the majority of people. I'm like, I assume that like anyone sees a testimony and they're like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm like, because that's how I buy. Not always the case for people. The majority of people need more time. They want to feel a genuine relationship, which is why, of course, we create a system for managing and generating leads and talking to people every day. They want to have certainty that you're the right person. and they want to feel confident that they can do this. This is pulling from the belief triad. And so I want you to think about within the majority of people, they need to feel like they can do it, that like it worked for everyone and it'll work for them too. And these are more subliminal things that you could add to your marketing and like include in there. Last but not least, if they're the data-driven people, I think it was Sharon. I was like, I don't know if it was you. No, it was Anise. This was the client that was like, am I going to get a return on my investment? There are the data-driven, they're called the analytical buyer. And I like didn't even realize that this was a type of buyer. But it's like, okay, the analytical buyer asks lots of questions. They want the data, they want to see the stats, they want to be like, and I kind of also fall in this. I'm like, wait, this worked for this percent of people. I would say I'm like probably like close to 100% a doer. But within that, like, we still want to give them data. Like every single person has gotten this. Every single reason has gotten this. So I hope that's helpful for you. That is where they are listed right here, is the Q&A, objections, 4 types of buyers. And in the future, I'm going to include this in the modules itself, but just a heads up, that's coming. Before we get into goal setting, I just want to show you all these are scheduled for 3 p.m. So there's going to be one about like how to create a Google business account, how to do a link tree, how to make a Facebook group. I think I've added a bunch of these, but the website one, I know that's a big one that's coming today, connecting with Jewel. If you guys are looking for like, I remember you talking about this website thing and I don't remember seeing it. That's because I wanted to get through all of the essentials and the additional systems before I just like bombarded you. And I've released these as they were relevant. But if you're looking for that, that's where they are. Any quick questions? That was just a ton of information. Yes, Tammy.
I was going to ask, do you have anything that talks about automation? So, like if I've created a $7 opt-in or something like that,
A Zap or something.
yeah.
So no. However, I'm always looking for additional trainings. I'm actually having somebody come in and talk about contracts. Like just like you did the P&L one, and I'm very interested in it. One of my friends, Krista, actually knows how to set up Zaps, and so I'm going to have her do a bonus training on. So Zapier is one of the many automation systems. I do not know how to use it, but in the meantime, before I can get somebody to do a training on it, here would be my recommendation. It's like this. Yep, automations. I was like, just to make sure this is it. I do not know how to use this, but I'm sure that there's like awesome resources in Google for you to help you until I can have somebody do a training. So I'm just gonna put this in this here. And for anyone who wants, who's like, okay, oh, and like your last name is Zapier. Do you know how to do Zapier?
I'm clueless.
Okay, great. I was like, well, it really is some good branding for you. I'm like, you should totally think about this. But essentially, the way that it works, from what I understand, in my limited knowledge, is that within as automation, if somebody joins, let's say, my Facebook group, and they put in their email, they answer the questions, and they are waiting to be added to the Facebook group. I don't think I have anybody. Actually, my yeah, this is one for tasks. So could have had people, but they might have been added already. So what they could do is if somebody's added to my Facebook group, I could get an instant alert. Hey, they were added to my Facebook group and things like that. Something I do know how to do is called ManyChat. I again, I'm gonna start talking about like more things that like if you want to pay for it, that's what the bonuses are, the like extra bonuses are for. But like I don't know if you guys have seen like comment testimonial to get a testimonial.
Mhm.
If you see that on other people's things, testimonial, it's a automation that if somebody posts something, you should get a direct message. Oh no, my Zap isn't working. If somebody else does that, hopefully you should get something that's like, click here to get this. It's probably because it's not me, but in any event, that could be something helpful. So definitely check out
Thank you.
Zapier. any other questions, I'll tell Krista that we're like, we would love an expedition of that training. Sharon.
So, a couple questions. One is, did you send, and you might have you provided us your Canva template? I remember like you showing us
I don't
images,
think I did.
but I don't recall seeing your Canva template for testimonials.
Oh, okay. I was like, yeah, that should be from my email. That I can totally do. I thought you totally meant something else. I thought you meant like this template for my offer. And
That
I
would be
just
helpful too.
I was like, I got you. I was like, so
Yeah,
I'm
both.
gonna make it
I was thinking both of them, but
all
I
the
just remember
templates.
you mentioning in the webinar that I went to about
Yeah.
that. And then I remember you showing us images, and I hadn't had a chance to go back through my files, but I didn't remember if we actually got a template.
I think
So I
it
thought,
should
I
be.
always like not having to work from scratch and like building
Yeah.
upon something else.
Oh, for sure. I was like,
Helpful.
it should be copy create. I was like, I know it's somewhere in here, but I'll just like find it. I
Okay.
was like,
I couldn't find it right quickly either. So that's why I was asking, but
that's
because
great.
because
Thank you.
one of the things I'm going to do this week is testimonials.
I love it. We definitely want to do that. Could you do me a huge favor and message me testimonial template? And I will get that to you and I will do that right at the end of our call. I've got a 30-minute buffer before my client. The
Okay.
other thing is like, I can't do this so you guys can all edit it because if one person edits it, it's not like Google. So it's
No.
like, it would just, which is annoying, but I can share a view option
Yeah. I
and
think
maybe
that
you can make a copy of that.
Yeah, I think the view is good. I think again, I think it's just, oh, wait, I need to include this also, and I didn't think about that.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna send this right away because it's right here. And I'm gonna say instead of anyone with the design can edit, I'm gonna make anyone with the design can view. And hopefully that will work for you guys too. Really,
Okay.
really great question.
And then what's the difference? Sorry, my internet kind of was having problems there for a minute, but what's the difference between, I think it's the Vio you use and Loom? Is that the right word? I was trying to write it down, but
Excellent question.
yeah. Because I
So
think you use the Vio to do your reels and to add the words, and there's also Loom, but I don't know exactly what the difference is.
is that how you pronounce it? Y'all.
I don't know. I can't.
I was like,
That's why I was trying to look in my email.
I
but
was
then my
like, that's
internet-
hilarious. I
Oh,
call it video.
Vido. Okay, so it's VIDO.
Yeah, so I call it video.
Okay.
I don't think it's called that. Just to super preface, I've been corrected by many people and I can't remember what it's called. And we're gonna have a ChatGPT training for my friend Amber in April. I didn't want to like overwhelm you guys, but we got lots of trainings coming up. We got lots of people coming. And within that, she knows how to pronounce it. And I met with her on Monday and yesterday and totally forgot how to ask her. But within video, for this,
That's fine.
like I was like, I don't know what this is called, but this is like I do want you guys to consider is this is a free resource. Loom is just for recording. So Loom, Zoom, synonymous. They are ways that you can record your content. And I would say like Loom is like a YouTube Zoom combo.
Okay.
So it's like you record and it's already up. I've never used Loom, but I'm sure again there's multiple YouTube videos about how to use it. And it just kind of records your content as you speak it.
Okay.
In Video AI, what I wanted to do is I wanted to figure out how I could take my like longer form content. So let's say anything over 90 seconds. And actually for Video AI, it has to be 3 minutes. And you record yourself speaking in a longer form content. So because I feel like that is the easiest way that our human brains can like actually say things. To distill years of learning into a 90-second reel, difficult. That is where Loom or video, you got me saying Loom, Video AI comes in. You can upload your webinars. You can upload, if you just want to do like a 10-minute video, I don't think anyone on here has a podcast yet, but Jess, you were talking about last week. So if you have a podcast and record yourself on video, it can take what you have. And at the time that I recorded this, I actually upgraded it right before it changed the format, but it gave me 75 minutes of just free space. So every week in my Facebook group, I would record a video. I filmed myself talking, right? And then it took my talking and it cut it with AI into different pieces. So I could be like efficient, like in the 7 or the 13-minute video I did, this is something I mentioned, and the AI listened to me saying keywords. And the reason it takes me such a short period of time is I have a whole bank of ideas that I collect throughout the month and I organize it. So it's like this was a piece of the thing that the video I did in my Facebook group. And it's just really cool. I've got a whole training if you guys want to watch it in your bonus, but like you can change this, you can change the color, and then you can save it and upload it as a reel or on LinkedIn or anywhere you are that like short form video. I found that reels, TikTok, and YouTube shorts are the main places that you can repurpose content, but that's all in here.
Okay.
So I talk about like, and then you can also use the transcriptions for your copy. Video AI is here. And then like, this is just me explaining how I use video AI.
Do you think, just another thought, because you did a recording that you had for your Facebook,
Yes.
just to try it out and kind of see what it looks like. What about if somebody did like a webinar and put it in there?
So I did that.
I was going to say, undo that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I did that for the Epic because I was like literally I messaged my well, my face looks great, but it's like I messaged my my VA, the one who's doing some of my responses for me for leads, my business coach, and a ton of other people. I'll share with you guys my FAQ. I think this is like one of the strongest things I've ever done. And look at all the content it created for me.
Okay.
32 videos from 1 hour of content.
Yeah, I think I'd like to just kind of play around with that a little bit and see how that works out. And that would be a good opportunity.
I did the planes. I was like, the planes are taking off with this idea. I love it. And so what I would say is that like, this is the first webinar I haven't actually shown my screen, except for like a bit in the middle. And so I think that helped to get better clarity here with like my face.
That makes sense. Yeah.
You see
With-
that? Like they said, like what? And I explained in this like longer video, like how to cut it, how to do that, different kinds of things like that. But that could be a really great thing for you for the webinar you did. Give it a try. I don't know what it looks like if I was sharing my screen on video AI.
Yeah, it's
Here's
not.
what it looks like.
Okay.
Not great,
Yeah.
but still.
So how did you, two things that, and I don't want to take up any more time, but two things. One, I did notice when I watched my playback, for some reason, like on yours here, it shows the people, and I've watched your webinars. For some reason, mine only showed my presentation and me. It didn't show the other people that were on there. So that's one technology thing I got to figure out. And two, how do you end up posting your webinars on your website and then adding your, like your, because like I said, I watched almost all your videos before I signed up for your program. And I was going to say, and then you gave your sheet or whatever it was that you had there. I wasn't quite sure how you connected those two, and to make sure, like, I know Missy ran into the problem where she was having to, people, instead of making copies from Google
were
Drive,
editing
they
right
were
on it.
actually adding that to there. So anyway.
Yep, that's the worst. I was like, oh, I've been there. What you have to do is within Google Docs is how
Okay.
you have to make your editable PDF. And then you go and you click in general access. Anyone with a link can edit, copy the link, and then within this right here, it's called a hyperlink. You
Mhm.
have to take this word, you define the word edit in the hyperlink, change it to a lowercase word copy,
Oh, okay.
And then that's the link that you share. When you click on it, it'll say, would you like to make a copy of this?
Because I've noticed yours does that, but I wasn't sure
For
how.
most of
it
them,
did.
but I've kind of messed up
Yes.
with it. You remember how it's like a couple of times I'm like, don't touch it, nobody touch it. I'm gonna make a new
Yeah.
copy. Those are the times when I've screwed up the hyperlink, and it happens to the best of
Right.
us.
And I sent you a hyperlink to my PowerPoint because I had a couple questions on my webinar, and I did that. But I didn't do the copy. I allowed you to edit it. So
Amazing. Well, thank you.
if you wanted to make
And
your notes in there, you could. Okay.
I definitely will. And you can make it like a commented a commentable. You can make it so people can comment on it. I don't know what it's like a commentable, but what I do with my webinars is I record it on Zoom. I go here to YouTube. I hit create, then I click upload a video. And then what I'll do is I will upload the video of my recording onto here. So within the like just now, I had my group and they just finished their coaching call. So one of the things that, why is it not letting me do this? Okay. So what I would do is I would take the recording, and this is what it looks like on my computer. It might look a little bit different. I save my Zoom recordings to my computer. Then I take the recording from here and I click here and I upload it. And then I'll title it and put a little thumbnail. So this is like week 23, 3-5. You would say the title of your webinar. If you want to include a description, you could. And then if you say, and I like have for each of my webinars, I include a Canva template that I put as the thumbnail.
Mhm.
And then let's say if it's like, if you just want it to be public for all people, you say audience, it's like you say, yes, it's made for kids, and you'll scroll over to the visibility piece. It's actually not made for kids because I definitely curse. And then you would say public and just submit it for everybody. So if it says public, everybody would see it and it would be great. However, for our private coaching calls, let's say that you want to do a webinar, and maybe for this webinar, you want to keep it private for a freebie in the future. If you want to keep it private because it's like a group coaching call, for whatever reason, you would make a new playlist. And then you'd have like a title, and then you can make this a private playlist. And then anything saved there, like I just did my October mastermind call. If you have a private playlist, you then click public, and then the link, all of my group clients can see my, like if they were to click into here, they would all see the YouTube link. They would all be able to click on it. But if you go to my, like, they can all see this, what I just did in the mastermind. Oh, this is actually, they do not need to see this. Good thing I checked. I was like, but that was just my end for one of my clients. But within my YouTube page, if you were to go to my public YouTube page, no one could see this. No one could see the private things. Like no one can see our week 14. And even though it says public, it's like only because the people who are in our group can see it. That was a long answer. Tammy.
I was gonna share if Sharon had any questions to clarify, and then I had a question from what you just showed.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Sharon, how you feeling?
No, it's good. I think just have to walk through it a little bit more. Practice, that it's good to watch you, and now I just got to do it. So go ahead.
Yep. And also then I like take the video, and in my Squarespace, now that you guys have access to the website's module, every website is a little bit different. But if I click into each page, I make a different page for each webinar. And then there's a block, they call it, and I include a video block. So depending on who you have your website through, that's how I include the video. it's a YouTube video on my website. Really good question. I just want to make sure I got to that. Tammy, what is your
Okay.
question?
My question is, when you set something as private on your YouTube and then you
Yes.
share that link with a client, so
Yes.
like, for example, I have 3 classes I did that walk people through dealing with debt collectors, how to negotiate on interest rates if you're current, and then a few other topics, and they're kind of spliced into 3 videos. I could upload those into YouTube and make them private, but
Private.
when I go to sell them,
It would
if I
still be
share,
private.
well, if I share that link with someone, what is to prevent them from just sharing that link? Or what,
I
like, is there
mean,
anything like that that you're aware of in terms of settings for YouTube that keep people from sharing that
n-
content?
no, no, but at that point, it's like, I'm like, if somebody's that desperate for something that costs like $7, it's like, okay, well, maybe this isn't great. I even in my classroom, I'm like, I know human nature. I have a feeling there might be some people that maybe could possibly share their login information for the Facebook group or for my systems. So every once in a while, what I do is I go in. I think it's easier than like having something like Kajabi because you just, instead of having like a login, you know what I mean? It's like instead of having like just like I could share my email and my password for something and anyone could access it. But
Mm.
I have found that if it is a private client and they have to use their Gmail, I do think it's harder for them to like share content. So maybe you could put it into a Google Classroom and then you could just give them access to it when they buy it would be like a just an extra level of like it's just harder because like if like you like I know you wouldn't do this, but like okay, let's say I'm in 6-figure systems and I have this friend Janae who really wants to do 6-figure systems and doesn't want to pay for it. For her to come into the classroom and see what I see, she would have to use my Gmail to log in, which means she
Oh,
would have access to all of my email, all of this other stuff. I think that she would be less inclined to share it with a friend because if like let's say their account gets hacked, that like it's like there's like an extra level of security in that it's linked to your Gmail other than just being like a password. So you
so I
could put your videos in here in a classroom you make.
okay, and then I could also do that with my like my templates and my
Yes.
formula, things like that,
Uh-huh.
for anything I offer for sale or for free, and just they would just have to have a Gmail account to access it. Is that
Yes. And that's the only thing that you would need to clarify. Like, I know some of you guys have like a nice email that like has your domain in it, which essentially just means like, I didn't know what this meant. So it would be like essentially instead of like Sharon@gmail.com, it's like help info@Sharon.com or something like that. That would be if there's like a weird ending to it, they won't be able to access the Gmail account, but that would be the only other thing
okay?
that you would need to explain.
Okay, thank you. And then you do have a training on setting, like actually how to go through the back end of setting up Classroom in there.
I do. You guys should have that, right? Let me see.
I'm a little slow on the
Google
going.
Classroom explained. Oh my God, please do not apologize. I was like, if anyone, I was like, I need repeated information as much as possible. So I just tagged you in it.
Thank
It's
you
just a
so
video of
much.
explaining how to do it. Also, I was sick that day, and so just don't judge me because I was kind of like short and
I
curt.
never
So if
judge
you
you.
need to ask a question again, please do not hesitate. I was just kind of like, here's how you do this. You do this, you do that. And so it's like if you are like, that's not Megan's usual style, just like give me the little grace for that one.
Thank you so much. That's so helpful.
My gosh, of course. I know that we've got other people that probably want some coaching. I had a quick thought for Missy because she asked for coaching first. So she was like, she's out of town all day. So Missy, when you watch this back, I'm touching on your pillars. I want you to think about, so before I even look at your pillars, okay? I want you to think about like within the pillars and naming the overall program and things like that. I want you to think about, you asked a couple of things that I thought were really really good questions. And also, this is just a good example. If anybody else has to miss a session, this is the way I'm going to kind of like structure it. So for you, Missy, I want you to think about like the first thing I want you to ask yourself is like, what if we had the clarity on the program, if we had a badass name, if all the pillars were not boring, but also fun, if every like I just want you to think about like how would you think and feel? Like what would if you felt like you had these things on lock? If you were like, my program is clear, if we were like, that's a circumstance, program clear, name clear, pillars, names, love it. What would be my thoughts and feelings? The reason why I offer this, and I know it probably is not the answer you like were looking for initially, but I think that like when we are thinking about like how we'll think and feel, if you can come at it from that statement, like, okay, it's like my program is clear, my names are clear, I love my pillar name and things like that. One of the things that I thumbs up, one of the things that I found is that you're going to problem solve in a different way. You're like, mine is clear and I want to make it even better versus being like, I don't really know about this. I feel like it's not really clear. It's not, it was like, it's heavy for my personality. It's not fun. It's like, I don't want to be boring. I like, these just sound like a couple of thoughts like that. I just want to like point out to you. It's like, I'm not sure how to pitch it. Like if you knew how to pitch it, what would you be thinking? What would you be feeling? You know what I mean? And how could we go about that? From the, it's like, why do we have to have a name? It's like, I do think that it is really wonderful when you have a name, and people have made millions of dollars without having pillars. So I just want to offer that as like, and without having a name. So it's like, that is like first piece of information. And that thinking and feeling, if you can access that now, as we look at these things, it's going to be really helpful. Within Ucentum, the new copy of the pillars and things like that, the overall program, if we're looking at this, if we've got the overall program, we've got the mindset, we've got the control and decisions, and we've got the planning and the actions and accountability. One of the things that I noticed about those is I think that they are really like, I think that you know what they are. And when I look at the initial pillars about like direction, wellness, decisions, and stress, one of the things that I think I see here that I really like, it's like the whole relationship to self. I think that you know what that means, but I'm not quite sure if the average person walking down the street who might be your ideal client would know what that means. The kind of things that I noticed when I looked at this, it's like the no self-trust, the get in their own way. I think maybe people would know this, but I'm just gonna go through and I'm just gonna like the beat themselves up. I think that this is something that people know that they're doing. Maybe get in their own way. I think they know they're doing. People pleasing, yes. Ruminate, I don't even know if I knew that word before I started coaching. Like, I don't know, seriously, like if you think about it, like, do you think that you guys knew what, like, I think I could figure it out, but I think it was like, look outside of myself for answers. I don't know if people are looking, I don't know if people see that. Living a life that's not true to them. Maybe. Feeling stuck, yes. You know what I mean? It's like, okay. The solution, how to make themselves a top priority. I like it, but I don't think that's a solution for this problem. I look at the relationship to self and I'm like, okay, what if I don't think I would ever, if the pillars are something that I would recommend. And again, I want you to know that coaching with Missy could make you 6 figures. 100%. Seen it done before. I know it can be done. So this is all just like, this is really good. And we want to make it even better. So I'm saying like with a grain of salt, but within this, like, I don't think that they know how to make themselves a top priority and get out of their own way to go after what they want. Okay. Lower stress, higher energy, more action. This is what I think they would be looking at. You know what I mean? So when I hear you say, I need a new topic, a name for my overall program versus like a better relationship with yourself, taking back control, the thing that I'm hearing is that like, I would like a little bit more clarity for that person and like what it is. I think that when we initially named it the Momentum Initiative, I think that at least spoke to the pieces that I think that we have here stuck, people pleasing, beating yourselves up, because then we need to get more action. I think it was the biggest thing that you were talking about when we first met about getting into action, right? Now, that being said, I think that mindset, before coaching existed, I thought if you heard yourself talking to yourself in your head, that you were a crazy person. I was like, you know what I mean? It's like when you hear it's like somebody's talking to themselves. I'm like, everybody has self-talk, but I literally thought that meant you had schizophrenia. So I was like, if I had been Googling mindset, I don't think I would have ever seen my mindset. Again, your people might be more advanced. They might know more about the coach speak. That could be your ideal person. But it's like when I look at these words, it sounds like a lot of coach speak. And I just want you to like take a look at this. And I want you to think about like, if my client is a coach, they probably would know this. My client is a therapist, they probably know this. If they are really into the self-help world, they might know this. But I don't think that like the average person is like, I feel at the effect of my life. And if somebody told me that, just my personal perspective is that if my coach had started coaching me and she was like, it's not your boyfriend's fault that you're depressed, it's your fault that you're living at the effect of your boyfriend's telling you that you need to take a 90-day break, I would have been like, oh, fuck you. Goodbye. Like that was just like kind of like where I was at in my life. I'd be like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like it is my boss. It is my mom. Like I didn't know I was living at the effect of my life. I had to be shown that. I might be really resistant and probably not your ideal client if that's the case. But I don't think that I would have been able to be like, I'm finding blame outside of myself. You know what I mean? It's like that just like that would be my 2 cents. But if someone was like, you need a streamlined decision approach because you want to take back control in your life, that would be like, I don't know if I'd be Googling how to take back control in my life, but I definitely felt out of control. So I could at least resonate with it. You know what I mean? Now, when you think about like a non-coach version of this, what would you say? And I think this works for everybody. I think I'm really, really glad that you brought this, Missy, because I think that a lot of us, like, I want you to take a look at your copy and I want you to take a look at like anything you're doing. And you're like, would a third grader get this? That's like the gold standard for copy is like, if a third grader could read it. If a third grader could read it and use context clues to understand it, if that's not the case, it's not creating the SEO or search engine optimization in social media that you might be looking for. So this is just 2 cents, and we can coach on this next week after you're out of court. So sorry that you're in, I was like, saw that. I was like, oh, in court. I'm like, that's interesting. Planning. If somebody was like, I need help planning. I was like, I do probably need help planning. I'd be like, that I could identify. I would say that no time to think about what they want wouldn't be there. I would say overwhelmed would be something I could resonate with. I would say that like for the planning, it's like the fun and satisfaction is, I'd be like, I don't think those would be my words. I'd be like, if I was like, where do I want to be after working with Missy for 6 months? I'd be organized and have my shit together. Would be more like my words. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you can say that in their words and then it'd be like, it's like, if you want to have your shit together, the reason you don't have your shit together. And one of the things that you can do is be like, if this is what I know the problem is, how can I say the problem that they see? So it's like, what I would say is like, here is be like, I want to have my shit together. I hope you're okay with me cursing on your page. I was like, hope that's cool. I was like, but when we're thinking about the understanding of the process, not the end result, it's like the reason you don't have your shit together is because you don't know what you want. Be like, all right, I'm listening. You need a clarity plan because you are not thinking. It's like if you're living for other people's priorities, you've never taken a chance to think about what you want. This is one of the most important things that I teach my clients so that they will move forward intentionally and create. And this is on this and this, you can get Coach Beaky. And the result line, you can get tweaky as long as it's context clueable for like an elementary school kid to understand it. And they understand more than like you would think. But it's like they would be moving forward intentionally and creating time for what truly matters to them. And I'd be like, oh, okay. Another thing that you can think about is like, what is not having this? Was that costing them? If I don't have a clarity plan, right? If I don't, it's like, how many more years are you going to live for someone else than yourself? It's like, I want you to look back when you're 50 years old and think, man, that would have been cool. Like, I want you to look back on your life and be like, this is the life I really wanted. Thinking about legacy, things like that could be helpful here. I'll add the word legacy. Supervisor for the, oh, that's what she's doing in court. I saw that like, so Missy, you're doing big stuff here. It was like, Sharon just shared, I was like, I hope it's cool. But it's like, you're being a supervisor for the clerk of office. So that's like freaking awesome. Keep doing for the federal court. I'm like, that's huge. Oh my God, and I didn't even teach anything. I'm sorry, Jess. We will get back to the teaching. I totally forgot about that. We had so many updates today. I was like, I know I'm gonna forget something. It was something big and it's cool. We'll come back to it. The last piece is like the actions and accountability. I don't know if I would use the word accountability, but I would say like maybe something like getting into action, like efficiency, productivity. Like I would say productivity is different than planning. So I would say that that would be a word I would use here. It's like how planning, but accountability. I would say like how productive / effective are you being? You need the action formula to get into action. Something like that. Be like, oh, because it's like, I don't think I could rank my actions on a scale of 1 to 10. I felt like I was taking a lot of action. I don't think I could rank my accountability on a scale of 1 to 10, but I could rank how productive and effective I was being. And I would be like, that is a no. So Missy, what I would recommend for you, I know that I got into your coaching right before I even talked about goal setting and things like that, but I would think about like, okay, what are people paying $1,600 for? It's like, how can I show them that for $100 a week, $400 a month, $1,600 for 4 months, that they are going to make that back with the emotional and intangible results that they would create with me? Coming back to like the data-driven buyer. And so I'm like, I think that we talked about wellness before, and if you want to take wellness out of there, but you did mention energy previously. So maybe it's like talking about like energy levels. I could rank that on a scale of 1 to 10. And decisions, I agree, like we could make it even better by like talking about planning. I think that was a shift that you made. Stress, that was, I think, what we used for take back control. So just like take a gander at these bad boys. Again, from the lens that like what you've been saying has already been awesome. It's already helped a bunch of people. We just want to make it even cleaner, even better. And that's what we're going to come back to. That would be my suggestion. So really, really good coaching. And now I'm actually going to tell you about goal setting. So it's like, because that would be important. OG pillars. Are there any questions about Missy's coaching really quick before we move on to the actual lesson of the day? The last lesson of the modules. Yes, I think that Sharon just said in the chat, like, focus on your ICA. How would your ideal client avatar explain this in their words? So I think that's just helpful for everybody. So great stuff. And now let's get into real quick goal setting. Last module. This is something that I think that because you guys are coaches, you can totally do this with your clients. So I still think it's useful for us to take like 15 minutes at max and go over this really quick. So one of the things that like, just in the same way that I was talking about Missy, like being like, my pillars are good and I want to go to great. We want to set goals from like, my life is good and I want to go to even better, right? That's what I mean from wanting from abundance. We'll also talk about how to make things a little bit more changeable for the next, and it's not even 5 months, it's like 3 months. What do you want to set your goals for? At our one-on-one session, I want you guys to think of a goal for the next 3 months of this program. What are you looking to get? And then think about the compelling reasons for all the ways that it's going to help you grow. And I want you to think about like by October of 2024, Nope. By May of 2024. What do you want your business and life to look like? In just 3 months from now, what shifts do you want to feel and experience? So the thing that I've seen is that when people are not wanting from abundance, when you are not setting when you're setting goals from everything that you haven't accomplished, it comes from a really scarce place. So instead, I want you to think about all the things you have accomplished and then set your goals for a place of gratitude and sufficiency. And it's something you can have your clients do as well. Like, obviously, we want to identify where they want what they don't love about their life within. Oh my God, I think I locked our cat in the bathroom. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, I was like, I don't know if you guys could hear that. Anyways, I was like, he's been freaking out this whole time. And I was like, it's probably because the other cat's in there. He just wanted to get into the bathroom. Anyways, so the way that you want to be thinking about the goals that you're setting is I want you to think about what are 15 things that you've always wanted and you already have. Like, I've always wanted 2 cats, even though they can be crazy sometimes. Like, I've always wanted cats. I love cats. And I'm like, I've already created that in my life. That's awesome. Then I can think forward to the things that I've wanted that I don't have just yet. Like, as you guys know, one of my goals in my life is that I would love to be a parent of some sort. And as I go through the very freaking painful procedure that I had on Friday, I'm like, okay, I can see that like my life is really good and I can go through these like procedures and like learn these things as I grow. Like, my life is already good and I want to make it great. So I want you to think about, like, within this container, how do you want to stretch yourself in a fun way? Because most of us set goals in a punitive way because of society and our generational things around it. I want this to be fun. I want you to be like, you know what? By May, I really want to stretch myself. What would it look like to have a clear timeline by the end of May? How many clients do I want to have? How much money do I want to have? And I actually am shifting this. Instead of like, I will have, like, for me, I'm like, I would love to have 50 clients. You know what I mean? It's like all these people joining things. But it's like, instead of being like, I will, which puts a lot of, for me personally, pressure on myself. Semantics matter. And I would say, I want to have this. It's like, I would love to have this. Set your goal in the present tense. And we will talk about that in our one-on-one session too. So within the motivational triad, we have the conserve energy, avoid pain, and seek pleasure. You are shifting and growing as you're in this container right now. Your brain is not going to want to change and grow. So what we have to do is, in order to overcome your primitive brain and get yourself motivated to be like, okay, I really like want to see what I can do in these next 3 months. Think about 30 reasons why having this goal is going to serve your business going forward. And be like, it's like, okay, it's going to do the opposite of the motivational triad. And instead of being like, oh, it's going to be a lot of work to do a webinar a month, be like, okay, I'm going to become energized thinking about the future Sharons of my business that could watch this. Instead of being like, this is going to be really uncomfortable to watch myself as I do these reels the first time. Instead, it's like, okay, how can I make this fun and funny and like a challenge for myself? Like, I am very much a challenge-oriented person. If someone challenges me to do something, I'm weird and I will do it. And I'm like, so it's like, if I can make that for myself, it's like, I want to challenge myself to be consistent and do this. And instead of being like, it's avoiding pain, instead of it being like, I'm going to keep myself from the discomfort of stagnation. It's like, I could for sure keep my business going exactly the way it's going right now, and it would be totally fine. Nothing would go wrong. But I really want to grow and I want to see what we can do. So it's the next piece, 30 reasons why. And then I want you to think about we've talked a lot about like your future self with the 5-year plan. So you know where you're going 5 years from now. But I would like for you to think about, where do you want to be 3 months from now? How can you think about yourself like during this goal and before this goal? On the times when you're like, oh my God, no one signed up for my webinar and I have to present it to myself. how can you, what would you need to be thinking as you go through the discomfort and change of growth? What actions would you need to take? And what insight would you need to take? And the importance of planning is like a lot of times, like I got off a consult yesterday and I always want to be like a believer in people's dreams. And they said that they wanted to be at 1 million by this year and they made 20,000 last year. And I said, okay, I like that. I want you to dream big. And I want you to give me like, we can have a really ambitious goal. And what happens is if like you don't make 1 million next year, I don't want you to give up on this goal. So within this, I was like, can we set like benchmarks? What are other things that you want to be accomplishing as you hit this goal? And that way you don't like miss the end goal and you're like, oh, well, I didn't get like 50 clients by May. So like this is stupid and I'm not going to do it. We want to be like, okay, how can we strategically, pessimistically feel like, okay, this is my best guess at this piece of my business and plan for it. So when we think about the goals, there's going to be thought problems and there's going to be mindset problems. And what we want to do is we want to think about all the mindset issues. Like as you are already setting goals, you're probably going to be like noticing some mental chatter. Probably going to come up where you're like, well, I haven't had a consult this month. So of course I'm not good. Like that's like all the mindset drama that might come up. Take it in stride and think about how you want to think about that ahead of time. And then there might be some like tactical things like Tammy was talking, like a lot of the beginning of our call was talked about with the tangible tactical issues. Like, I don't know how to upload a webinar to a website. I don't know how to automate people buying my product. And that's things that's like, okay, I'm going to ask people in the group. I'm going to watch YouTube videos and I'm going to set time aside for that on my calendar. So the last thing is I'm so freaking amazed by you. You guys are doing amazing. Who wants to get some coaching to start us off? Raise your hand.
I was like, if nobody's gonna jump, I'll jump.
I was like, okay. I was like, well, we'll do Tammy then Jess.
Okay.
What is your win, Tammy? And we'll get started.
My win for this last week is seeing 192 people in my free group that I just started at the end of October. So that's been very exciting for me.
Hell yes. We love this. What you want some coaching on?
Okay. My with all of the things to learn and everything going on, I've noticed that my attention span has been, unless I'm on a coaching call, like the in between and like even in the evening time, like I was sitting here attempting to read a book and then it's like feeling distracted in my brain. I wasn't, you know, the level of focus and stuff. And I'm not sure if it's just because of the physical changes going on in my body or, you know, like what, if that's part of it, or, you know, if you were talking about at the beginning in Missy's beautiful pillar thing about, you know, coming at something from the place of, okay, if we wave it, like in my brain I go, if I waved a magic wand and all these pillars were worked out and everything was done, how would it feel to open up other parts of my brain to be solution oriented? So I was like, okay, I was sitting here contemplating, okay, what would Tammy do if she was fully focused and dialed in and able to sit and read freaking chapter of the book without, you know, like being pulled to doing other things at the same time. So like, I feel like, yeah.
Okay. So I've got two thoughts.
Yes.
The first is a clarification and then a thought. The first thing I want to clarify is if the goal is related to your business or it's like, what is the goal in between those calls? Do you have a set goal? Or like the first thing, it just might be like vague goals and your brain's like, oh, this is like not clear enough that I can see getting out of something like, and I think a distracted place is actually very comfortable. So again, coming back to the motivational triad, it's like very, like, you know, it's like, so it's like if your brain doesn't see enough to motivate it into action, that's the first question. And then the second question, is it related to your business that like you've got stuff to do between calls? And then it might be like a business belief question. So it's like, I think like the two questions to ask yourself, if anyone is getting like distracted, is it's like, is one, is my goal / result from time motivating enough for my subconscious? Just like, is your brain like, that's the first question. Is it like, and then the second question is if it's business related, is there a gap in belief / not seeing the result that's keeping me unfocused?
Yeah. And I feel like it's actually both, because I noticed last night, like I'm reading a book for pleasure in the evening time. And it's like, I mean, it talks about spiritual stuff, which I love, but like I was even having a hard time just relaxing and getting into the book.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then it's like I see it during the day, like we're all have chunks of white space. And usually it would be like, great, I can go, you know, like my the way I've structured my day, because I do like virtual support and then I do, you know, my debt consulting, then I do coaching and stuff. And the way I've structured it, when I have white space, that's my time that I get to just not random, but like intentionally reach out and extra love on my clients and things like that that are in their process or future prospects and whatnot. And I wasn't doing that. I think I was like highly emotional, like
Wow.
highly, you know, just yeah.
Let's, oh God, I would like, it's like you hit on so many good things. I think that maybe we need, what we're hearing about initially is that like there's clarity around the white space time where it's like, this is what I should be doing, like this is what I'm doing and adding this, but like I wonder why it's like the love on clients and potential clients, why that hasn't felt like natural in the white space. Especially if you don't have more clients and you don't have more, it's like that's always an interesting thing to like bring up. It's like, okay, I actually have less things on my calendar, maybe, that
Yeah,
are,
and I do. Like yesterday, it's like, shoot, I could have shy of a couple appointments. I could have taken the whole day off. And then it's like today, you know, I've had a handful of things. I've got a little bit of white space, and then I've got another coaching client this afternoon. But like, I think just emotionally, and
tell
I
me
think
about that.
I, hmm, I think there's just a lot of pressure.
Okay, let it come up. We're here for you. We're all coaches. Yep. I was like, trust me, I like cry on like so many of my coaching calls. A lot of them. Like I would say like
Yeah.
percent. It's like you're paying me to hold space for you, and all of us are like all enjoying. So
Yeah,
what?
I think it's the so like my husband and I had an agreement that and this was like back in October last year, we made this agreement that my business gets to be profitable for me to continue. Otherwise, I get to look at bringing in, you know, like going back to work full time or something. And I say back to work, like working for someone, W-2 versus what I'm doing now. And so, like, there's the pressure of that timeline. And then there's also the pressure of finances in and of themselves.
Mhm.
And then unexpected expenses that are popping up as well.
Yeah. So what is your brain thinking about these 4 circumstances: the October agreement, the unexpected expenses, the business going back to work, and there was one other thing that you said, but like, what is creating the pressure? Like, I have to make it work. Like, this is
I,
Tell-
I- yeah, I think what it's saying is like, I didn't do enough. I didn't use my time wisely. I could have done more. I'm failing, which I mean, I haven't given up, so it's impossible to fail if you're not giving up. But like
I
that,
know.
so
Let's just
that one
like,
I've got under lock, and also it's part of it too. Not, yeah, not doing enough. Yeah, you've got that on
yeah,
there.
I was like, I'm definitely hearing your brain. And like, I don't think that the word that comes up might be pressure, but when you think the thought, I didn't do enough, I didn't use my time wisely, I could have done more, I'm failing, is pressure the emotion that it creates, or is it something else?
It might be something else, but I don't know the word for it.
Okay.
Like there's overwhelm, there's like physically, it's like
Yeah.
stress and a tightening restriction.
Uh-huh. So it's like your brain thinks that thinking these thoughts is really helping you.
Oh
It
yeah.
subconsciously, not
Yeah.
consciously at all. But it's like this thought that I didn't do enough might have motivated you in the past to get like, oh, it's like I in some other way, shape, or form, I didn't use my time wisely. I could have done more. I'm failing.
Yeah.
Those might have been really good motivators for you up until February, or not February, March 5th, 2024. But I wanted to just, because your brain wouldn't think those thoughts if it didn't produce a result that was desired in the past.
Right. And that's like something it's done to keep me safe. And then even also like I had a subconscious thought of it has to be hard. So then I go into overthinking and all that.
Mhm.
And like I've learned since it doesn't have to be hard. I get to do it my own way.
Right. But your subconscious is just, it's not quite on board yet.
Yeah.
Not just yet. Right. So it's like this thought, it's like, I want you to think about, like, you mentioned, you said I didn't do enough like a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, let's go with that thought. When you're
Okay.
thinking I didn't do enough and you've got this white space, you
Mm-hmm.
also have a couple of other circumstances, you feel pressure.
Yeah.
What do you do? And maybe that thought I didn't do enough comes up at the end of the day, or does it
Well,
come up during the white space?
um, during the white space, it's like, oh, like even when I am in the middle of doing something, there's like this thought of, am I doing the right thing? You know, or is this activity a buffering thing that's just making me feel good because it's busy work, but it's not really what I should be doing? So like that's what
Okay.
happens when, so for example, like there are parts of my day where I can choose to do, like I'll do admin fulfillment because that's easy. I know how, like that's like I can pound that out all day long easily. And also it's almost like a form of buffering to keep me from having to research, oh, how do I automate some of these things? How, you know what I, for myself. If it's for a client, oh, done deal, you know, like that's easy. But then it's like it seems like my stuff takes a back seat. Or like if it's content creation for a client, that's so easy because I'm not emotionally attached to what they do. I can content batch for them and do all the things all day long. It's easy. And then when it's me, it's like, ah,
Okay, so let's say like you're sitting down to do work, and I want to come back to the thought I didn't do enough, but like, let's just go to like a circumstance. You're sitting down today, right? You mentioned that like you're like, I don't know. It's like I feel like I don't know what to do. Or it was like, I don't know if is what I'm doing the right thing to do. So what we want to do is
yeah, the most fruitful. Like, is it because like I do, my buffering looks like me reading a how-to book instead of going and executing. My buffering looks like, well, let me just watch one more, you know, Brene Brown video versus actually sitting down and doing the because I don't know enough kind of. And it's like
okay.
that's the I could fill my time with that, and or I could fill my time looking on AppSumo for the next thing to
Use.
use, and I'm not even at that step yet.
What is a thought that like is it that I don't know enough or I'm not doing the right thing? Like it's like is this the right thing? It's like I don't know. It's like
Maybe
I
it's like the
it's
best thing. Maybe it's like I feel like in the white space, like especially yesterday, there was like a good 2 hours where I was just like, what do I do? What do I do? Oh, okay. I think I'm gonna go do this thing. And then even in the process of doing that thing, I've got distraction going on. And also I'm second guessing, oh, is this like the best use of my time?
yeah. And so it's like so and it's like not like I want you to know that like I guarantee everyone on this call has been exactly where you are. Thank you for bringing this up. And I also have been there. And I promise this is not forever. But one of the things I want you to like, your brain is like, I don't know the best thing to do. So it's like just kind of feeling what emotion comes up when you're thinking, I don't know what I don't know what to, and I think that even the best thing to do is like, I don't really know what to do. I don't know what I should be doing with my time right now. What
Yeah,
does
like
that
I
feel
know
like?
there's sadness because I'm processing halfway. I know there's definitely like that
Okay.
feeling of sadness because I'm processing. And then there's also like,
I don't think it's like sadness that if I were to think the thought, I don't know what to do, maybe it's sadness, but I think it's more so confusion.
yeah, I mean, definitely confusion and then sadness because it's like, oh, dang it. Or even frustration too, because like I've been doing this since 2021. Why don't I know what to do? What and it feels like
Mhm.
there's different layers and levels,
There
kind of
are.
like how you were saying, like you're making X amount and still you go through the same things as if you were first starting out in a different level. So I feel
Yeah.
like it's that.
So I want you to like just think about like this frustration that you're feeling. I think it is frustration. It's like, God, it's like, I don't know what to do. And then it's like, I think compiled with like a smidge of like, it's like, I should know what I should be knowing what to do now. I've been in this business for long enough, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But, and like, I think we could go down and I would love for you to still like examine these thoughts, right? I still want you to go in and be like, just like take a look at these. But I find that like sometimes our brain looks for like really deep self-worth things a lot like it's like this is really like intense stuff. And if we can bring it back to like something a little bit more surface level, it can sometimes get you into more action. And then you can work through the stuff as you go. Because like these might be like themes that you've experienced, sadly, through the whole course of your business. Like I should have been doing, I should have done more. Actually, you have that. I could have done more. I
Yeah.
should have done more. Like it's
Yeah.
like they might be different flavors throughout the whole course of your business, which is like not ideal. But if we know these thoughts might come up, it's like we can work on them as we get to like the more surface level like moment. It's like I want to get you into like I want to help you work through these thoughts. And I also want to like be like, okay, brain, maybe it's not like an identity crisis. Maybe I'm just like, I need to like take a minute. I was like, and he said, like, saw that smile, and I was like, I feel like that is like me. And it's like, I don't want you to be like catastrophizing and not catastrophizing, but like fixating on these thoughts. Like these thoughts are normal for your brain to be having. Your brain is going to have them throughout the course of your business. Nothing has gone wrong. And I think this is going to be the most productive thought to focus on. And we want to work on these thoughts simultaneously. So this thought, I don't know the best thing to do. Should be doing it's like, and I probably should, it's like, I want to know what I should be doing by now. It makes you feel frustrated. So
Mhm.
when you think that thought, you think about what you're doing as busy work, adding to the frustration. Then you buffer because you're like, I'm feeling frustrated. Let me go to like a softer feeling of consuming content, doing
Yeah.
task activities, second
Yeah.
guessing,
Or
and
doom scrolling.
doom scrolling, my personal favorite. I was like, I'm doing everything I can to get me off of doom scrolling midday, but man, it still comes up even at every level. But this thought, I don't know the best thing to do. It's there for a reason. It actually really wants you to get to work to make a really big impact. This is a very your brain is trying to help you. And we want to go and be like, what are you not doing when you're thinking, I don't know the best thing to do? What are you
Yeah.
not doing?
Wait, what am I, you mean action wise?
Yeah, what are you like? It's not thinking that maybe what you're doing is the right thing.
Second guessing myself for sure.
Yeah. Not just doing something and going with it.
Yeah, to like it's almost like making a decision and following it with massive action versus I'm making a decision, but I'm kind of standing still, second guessing this is the decision. I'm at a fork in a road and I'm like, I start walking down one way and then I'm like, well, let me backtrack and go back. Well, let me go back and go and I keep, yeah,
Changing your mind about things. And so
yeah.
this thought, like, I don't know the best thing to do, it undermines your ability to do things that move you forward.
Yeah, and then like it even undermines like even like I think about my pillars and I think about my program and it's like when I have people who are in my program, it's game on, let's go. We'll cross the finish line and I'll show you how to do all the things and you'll have breakthrough and stuff because I know you will. But then it's like until I get a client signed up, it's like, oh, I must be doing something wrong. I'm not doing enough of something.
Okay. Not doing enough. So I want you to think about like, if you were, like, how would you know that you did enough?
I keep going back to the result. Like I would have clients, I would be making, an impact that is measurable through people's testimonies.
Okay. How many
I,
clients?
ideally like 8.
Okay.
I would love to have 8 going through my budget blaster.
Okay.
I would love to have 8 clients going through budget blaster. I would love to have another 8 doing the 6-month resilient life.
Eight doing resilient life. Okay.
Yeah. Because I think that's very doable and sustainable for me to have 8 new clients every month with a 6-week commitment and then the 8 going through the 6-month. Like I think there's good balance in that. And then it
Right.
gives me white space for my,
For
facilitating.
time. And it's like this thought, like, it's like, so we really want to do things. We really want to help the people instead of like kind of having like the vagueness of enough, wisely, done more, failing, has to be hard. Let's like get really granular and be like, okay, what would it look like? And then when you have a better problem, then your brain can go, that's the strategic pessimism. Right now, this is the problem that your brain is hoping to solve. This thought is not solving the problem.
Right.
So then we can actually think about, okay, how would I solve this problem? How would I get 8 more clients? What would I need to do to create, like, how would I bring in testimonials? How
Right.
would I have 8 people doing resilient life? And it gets you from like this like vague enoughness, like where it's like you make it mean something about you and getting into like, how can I serve these people? Like, what haven't I said to bring these people on? What else could I? And then that gets you out of you, like the your brain is focusing on like you not doing enough, you not doing your time. Like it has to be hard for me to think about them. And that can, I know that thinking about serving your clients always gets you into action. And so the reason why I'm doing this is I'm like thinking if we can go through each of these, get you focusing on service, then we can get you into using that white time well.
Okay, so flipping it.
Flip it.
Basically, like if I had the 8 clients and the 8 doing resilient life, what would I be coming up with to sustain and support them?
And how'd you get them?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been like talking and sharing on other people's platforms. It would have been collaborating with people. It would have been more reels, audience growth mode. It would be better improvement of copywriting and marketing for my own things. I'm doing the free classes already.
So
It
you
would
see how But immediately you went from like, I don't know what to do to 5 things that you can do. The initial thought, like, I don't know the best thing to do, to like, here are 5 ideas, let's fucking go.
Okay, so then it's just a matter of picking one, letting it be right, and going down that path, doing it
Yes.
and putting it out
Yes.
there. And then, okay, so like then,
Okay,
okay,
what about like, and then it's like, I didn't use my time wisely. It's like, how can I use my time wisely today? It's like, sure, maybe yesterday, didn't use it as wise as I could. Past is dead, moving forward. How can I use my time wisely today?
yeah. And it's almost like if I have 5 things, well, literally I could pick a day of each week where I'm reaching out to people to collaborate. I'm reaching out to
Yes.
people looking for guests for their podcasts or whatever. I'm reaching out, like I'm doing real creation, which also hits on
Mhm.
audience growth mode. And then I'm also doing like the copywriting and marketing stuff throughout.
Mhm. You just have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but there
Yeah.
is a thought that you have right now that is a different thought than you had before. What is the thought that got you into? Do you feel the shift? Like, I feel like I can just
I,
hear it in your voice. You're like, so it's just insane. What would you think what was the thought that you shifted within you to be like, I don't know what to do? And like, it was like, you didn't have pressure and you got creative
it's shifting it from my issues to focusing on my clients' issues.
every time. And I know it's your thing. It's like, because I know your brain. So it's like, if we can be like, it's like, what is the thought instead of like, I don't know what to do? You said like, there's never a best, you said it so beautifully. And I was trying to write it down, but I was too excited about other stuff. But there's, it's like, there's no best thing. It's like, I choose one and I go with it.
Pick something and let it be right.
There's no best way to run my business. It's just the way I choose to make the best. I heard Stacey say, there's no right offer. It's just the offer I choose to make right. Stacey Bateman, for all of you. I think you all know her. And I was like, wait, there's no right offer. It's just the offer I choose to make right. Well, if there's no right decision, I just choose that every decision I make in my business is the right decision. And it's like, this is the best idea that I have today that can help somebody. I'm going to do my best. And if it doesn't work out, I will evaluate it because I'm an awesome CEO, learning how to become an awesome CEO. And like the way you were like, oh, I would just like, it's like, if I were to get 8 new clients, I would just do this, 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 and this. It's like, oh, great, Tammy's brain. It's like, that's awesome. Instead of being like, I could have done more, being like, what more could I have done, brain? Thank you for like, this is the strategic pessimism side. What more? Give me what more? 5 ideas, please. And then that's shifting your brain from being like problem oriented, which all brains are. Like, it's not like a sign of like being any more of a human, but it's like, okay, what more could I have done? Give me 5 ideas for tomorrow. I'll implement them next week.
Right.
You see what I mean? It's like that way we can shift your brain instead of being like, oh my gosh, I could have done more. It's like, yeah, probably. What? Like, okay. It's like validation, confirmation, moving forward to solutions. It's
Right.
like, sure. It's like, I didn't use my time wisely. What else could I have done to make it more wise? That's a great point, brain. Instead of fighting your brain and trying to solve for like deep internal things, being like, excellent point, let's use you to problem solve. It's like a weird hack, but it's like anytime my brain is like, why are more people booking consults for this? I was like, why? That's how I came up with the FAQ. It's like, what did they need to hear? I was like, why didn't they book a consult from the webinar? Because they might be thinking there's a different business coach that's a better fit for them. They might be thinking that, why am I doing a systems coach? What the
Yeah.
fuck is a systems coach? Like, what does that
Right,
even
right,
mean? I was like, I should
right.
probably clarify that for them. And then instead of being like, oh, they didn't book a consult. Oh my God, I don't like, I'm like, okay, how could I make them do that? What
Yeah.
thoughts do they need to have? And it gets them into the, like, what do they need? And it gets into that service mindset,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Now, these 2 thoughts are fun little thoughts, your brain's going to tell you this the whole time. I'm failing, no matter
Well,
how
I'm
much
not
money.
failing because I haven't given up.
It's like, wait, what thought? It's like, thank you, brain, for noticing that I'm failing. And what do you want to say? What was it? You said something beautiful.
Um, I haven't failed because I'm not giving up. But then
Okay.
also like, okay, it's almost like if I were coaching me through it, it's like, okay, well, what exactly do I feel like I'm failing in, and what would success look like?
Yes, failing in.
And
What-
what would it take for me to feel successful inside of that failure?
Yes, feel successful. It's like, wait, what is the thought that I need to have to feel successful? And what specifically do you feel like I'm failing in? It's like, do you
Mhm.
think that it's the time management piece? Excellent. Thank you for pointing that out. How can I make that better for next week? It's
Mhm.
like, thank you for pointing that out. And what would it be? It's like,
Yeah.
it has to be hard. Let's go to this one. What thought do you
Right.
want to have instead of this? Or with it. I was like, instead of fighting it, you can be like, this thought it has to be hard. It's like, yep, and it has been. Thank you so much, brain. Are there any ideas for how to make this easier? It's like, do you have any other ideas? If not, we're just gonna keep going with what we have as our best guess.
Kind
You know
of,
what I
yeah,
mean?
this is one I'm very back and forth with. It has to be hard. I I feel like there's part of me going, well, the harder it is, the bigger the payout, the bigger the breakthrough, the something like that. But then also at that, it doesn't have to be hard because I see other coaches working minimal hours and making six figures.
Huh? It's like,
Uh,
how are
what
they working less?
Yeah. So how,
What
and
do
also
they?
what might they know that I don't?
What do they
What are they
do?
doing that I'm
What
not yet doing consistently or even doing, period?
doing? Exactly. Do you see how it's like it's any question that seems like an endless loop in your brain that is just like super unhelpful? We can be like, it's a gift. This is strategic pessimism at its best. And we can be like, oh, it's like this is like literally like it's like any problem that your brain brings up is your brain is a problem seeking missile. So it's like, excellent brain. Thank you for telling me that I'm taking too much time to do this. What could I do to make this go in less time? What could I do to make it easy? How on earth did they figure out how to work half the hours I'm working? What would it take to feel like success? And what kind of things, what am I seeing? What are 5 ideas I have to try? It's taking the problems and making them a solution. This was, I think, huge for like everybody. I've never said it like this, but I think that's like the something that DL, who's another coach, if you guys don't know her, she's wonderful. She told my friend Janae, she was like, the difference between me making 6 and 7 figures is the time I spent thinking about myself and the problems and the time I spent thinking about my clients and the solutions.
Mm,
And I know we're going for 6 figures, but I'm like, I think it's helpful to like use that as a model. I'm like, okay, if that worked at the 7 figure level, maybe it could be something I could learn at the 6 figure level too.
mm,
So if we say, if we put, it's like we made peace, I think last week with like, okay, we got this is on the table, but we're giving ourselves until the end of March. We're going to be like, thank you, brain, end of March. What can we do? It's like, thank you for bringing that up. What can I do to bring in 8 clients? If this is something I want to do.
mm.
And maybe we think about like the next client, depending on, it's like, how would I need to show up as like this like force to bring these 8 people in?
Well, there's part of my brain going, offer some kind of promotion because it's my birthday month.
Oh, happy early birthday. Offer
So like
promotion.
maybe, but then I'm going, ooh, am I discounting my services? What will my past client like? All then it opens up a whole other,
They would say, okay, how about offer bonus? It's like, if you work with me
Oh,
If you do this, I literally like it's like, that it just takes the value and the discount. Your brain brought up a problem and I got you a solution.
okay.
See?
So like it would be normal price, but then offer a
Like I
bonus
just gave
time or a
this
bonus widget or something to serve them.
that you already have. Also, just something like I know that like your partner talked about your business being profitable. You had 2 5-figure months in November and December. So if we're thinking
One
about,
five figure. Yeah, well, I had a 1 5-figure month, and then in December I made half of
I would
that.
just like consider being like, hey, it's like again, maybe they're expense. I don't know the exact financial situation, but it's like the first 3 months of a year don't determine the profitability of a business for the year.
Right.
If we're putting the pressure on the first quarter to churn out a profit, could we financially support me taking the full year and or looking at the past and seeing, okay, well, in the past, I actually have been profitable. I did actually create a profit last year. In the past 12 months, I actually have turned a profit. My business is potentially profitable right now. I think it might be. I just don't know if you thought about your money like that. Like
Yeah.
I made 204K in the past 12 months, but I made 160 in 2023. So if I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, it's like I like to use the numbers in a way that like help my brain to think about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's cool.
I think my brain is still going, make it hard on yourself so that way.
Really getting into that hard story. It's like, okay, it's
Mhm.
feeling pretty hard, brain. It's feeling pretty hard and it's actually not helping. So if like, you know,
It's like if I did do 8 clients every 6 weeks, and I did do 8 clients every 6 months, like that's well over 300 that I'd be making a year.
do you need to make that because it's just January and February? Could we still make 300K with January and February being what they were?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So your brain's like, I have to be profitable in the next 3 weeks or else. And like maybe, or maybe we could just have a new conversation about money. Depending on your financial situation. I don't want to put words into your partner's mouth, but that just like I don't think that you've thought about money to talk to your partner about in that way. So that's
Mhm.
important.
Yeah.
And I know that we spent a lot of time on this, but I think that these are things that everyone I want you to think about. Like I think they're serving every single person on this call. So it's like, I think that like for you, you immediately shifted when you thought about your clients.
Hmm.
You're like, I just need to find a way to get 8 clients. So your brain's going to give you chatter. It's going to say things. Want you use that to serve you. It's like, I want you to use strategic pessimism.
Hmm.
I want you to think about like, how do you want to feel as you go and get these 8 clients?
Yeah, I want to feel confident, empowered, coming from a place of service
Service
and
minded.
support. Yeah.
So in every day, you're going to have white space. We're going to have an opportunity to bring these 8 clients on every single time. What can you think instead of I don't know what to do? What can you think to be like, get you right into this confident, empowered, service minded action?
I know what to do when I sign them.
And I'm going to figure out how to assign more right now. Like, I'm gonna figure out why they haven't signed just yet right now. I'm gonna figure it out. My best guess is these 5 things.
Yeah, I think too, like as you're saying that, like I get to revisit who my ideal client is, because up till now it's like, oh, I deal with people who are massively in debt and I deal with people who are like barely getting by. And it's like, okay, well, maybe we could shift that, because I have worked with multimillionaires and they're quite nice to work with because they know their stuff, and it's just a matter of helping them implement systems and stuff.
What was the thought that made you think about that?
Thinking about the 8 clients and who I really would like to work with.
Yeah, girl. And I don't think it was meant to happen until today, March 5th, 2024. I think this is a revelation that we all needed to hear today. And I think that now you're ready to show up for your ideal client. What do they need to hear? What platforms are they on? What collaborations are they watching? What kind of reels do they need to see? What kind of, I don't remember what audience growth means. What kind of copy do I need to write for them?
Yeah.
It's something here that I
Yeah.
don't.
Audience growth is like when you put out, you're playing with the algorithms on social media so that it puts you in front of new eyes. So like, for example, like when you talk about the same things over and over and over again on Instagram, and you don't stray, you don't randomly put pictures up of something that's not on par. It will teach the algorithm so that when you go mini viral, where like you post something within an hour, you've got likes and you've got comments, it tells them, let's send this out to people that are not connected to her. Like, have you ever scrolled and you all of a sudden see, I don't know this person, but I'll watch this little video.
Oh yeah, all the
That's where
time.
those come from. That's why that happens. And so like on Instagram, you'll notice if you ever go to my stories or my feed, all I ever talk about are fraud things, collection things, credit things, and mindset things. You don't hear me mention anything about my family or my kids, because I'm teaching the algorithm. If I want to talk about family or kids or things that are off brand, I do that in my stories, where my followers who already know, like, and trust me can see the personal side of Tammy. And it's like I treat the stories as a magazine. You flip through and it's like, oh, we see life, we see personal things, but then we
Yes.
also see the advertisement for, hey, click here, get registered for my widget, whatever it is.
And do the multimillionaires want the widget?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, the one of them that I'm currently working with
Maybe.
is like, I met them through a mastermind. So it was like through somebody else's collaboration.
Okay. And I
meeting
think
them.
that like the majority of like higher ticket people, they might want, like, for me, I think about like as my business grows, my
Mhm.
time is in less supply. So my
Right.
time to implement like little stuff, and I like the budget blasting and things like that. Do millionaires need budgets?
Absolutely.
Or like, well, okay, so then
Oh yeah.
speak to them, but I think it's in a different way than like, it's like, you have no money and you have to budget in order to make your next
Yeah,
investment.
it's a much like it's like,
Right.
so when you're talking
Versus being
about,
like, okay, I want you to buy, it's like, I want to talk to you about Budget Blaster, because the next investment that you make could be your next 6-figure investment. And if you're not budgeting, you're not going to have the funds for it. Do you see
Yeah.
the total difference of the audience you have?
Yeah.
It's like, if you start talking about like investments in that way, they're going to be like, oh, I didn't know that that's what Tammy does. Let's talk about that. So very, very good. This took a long time, but I was like, that was a lot. How is your brain feeling right now?
It's feeling good. I'm looking forward to playing with this.
Play with it. I
Mhm.
know it's like, it's a lot, but I feel like you're going to start to, I think this was at least 5-figure, if not like a 5-figure revelation. I was like, I think that if you can figure out how to speak to your ideal client, I think that you're going to sign like 8 clients for sure from this thought. My ideal client is probably not on Welfare Store right now, which is no problem with that. I just don't think that they're your person. And we got like awesome stuff that is like smaller ticket item stuff for the meantime for them too.
Mhm. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, of course. This is so good, I think, for everybody. Jess, I know you didn't necessarily have your hand up, but I wanted to see I
Yeah.
want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Sharon said, remind myself clarity comes from engagement, not thought. Yes. I'm focusing on my whys. Start talking to my brain like this. Yes. I was like, yes. Okay, good. Jess, it sounds like you had a lot of revelations.
Oh my gosh. It's been a week.
I was like, what is a win to start us off? Also,
Um,
Sharon, I have time to go to 3:30 Eastern. If you have another minute, I will stay on with you. And if not, we can post about it in the classroom.
okay, so my win is that I decided to hire an assistant. Um, and I'm super freaking excited about it.
So excited.
Tiny. Um,
Tinies.
and so, okay, I'm gonna just like download a couple of things that have happened in the last few days. And what I need help with is that my mind is feeling really clear and really confident right now, but I know that that's gonna stop. And I, I need some thoughts to get me through the days that I know that are coming. I've, I have been really following my cycle and my
Mm,
mood swings, and I have an idea of a very specific time during the month that I just legit feel like a crazy person and everything is awful and the whole world is burning down. Um,
amazing. Love.
so I know that my like current mindset window is relatively short, and so I'm trying to maximize it.
Yeah.
The thing that led me to deciding to hire an assistant is that I've been listening to this book, and I think I told you guys about it a week or two ago. We Should All Be Millionaires. If you haven't gotten it yet, please freaking get it.
I met somebody who knows the person who wrote it.
I would like fangirl forever. She's a fucking badass. And this
It's
book
funny.
is something I think every woman should read, listen to, whatever. Um, so through that, there was this epiphany I had about focusing on the things that I enjoy and the things that I'm naturally good at, staying within my zone of genius. And social media has been my Achilles heel since I decided to really go all in on my own brand and on my own business. I get very stuck. And so my assistant she has a marketing background. She's going to help me with that, amongst other things. I have also, so I basically hired two people and they're helping me kind of tag team. Um, the reason that I'm able to do that is because my current job that is part-time, is not feeling part-time, um, is giving me the funds to be able to support adding these people. So my option was this: I can get somebody to take care of my child more, and I would have to pay them a significant amount as well. Or I could, it just occurred to me like, that's not the mom that I want to be. I don't want to sacrifice my time with her so that I can have this business. And there has to be a way that I can do both. And
Mhm.
for me, that is hiring people to help me with the work stuff. My new assistant is also a former nanny, which means she can help me with Aaron. I mean, like when I talked to her, guys, I was like, I love you already. Like, when can we do this?
I totally did the feeling.
Like you're literally sent to me from the universe. Thank you. Um, so I had my first meeting with her yesterday, gave her like a list of things to do. I'm keeping it very tight and constrained as far as like I'm not going to employ her for 20 hours a week. We are working on what I can fit within my budget.
Mhm.
It allows me so much brain space that I feel like I have not had, which is wonderful. So we're already working on a strategy. I'm going to launch a mini course in April. They're going to help me lead up to that with social, and then, continue to build engagement, build my list and all of that, and have more presence and more consistency. Super awesome. Um, so my like soapbox moment for all of you that feel like maybe it's out of reach to hire somebody to help you with the things that super suck. Maybe that's the risk that needs to be taken right now. I just feel so much lighter just knowing that I have somebody that I can depend on in the moments where I don't feel like I have it in me to do it. My calendar is insane. I'm working I get up at 5 a.m. I don't stop until I put her to bed. So
Yeah.
like the brain space that I have and the white space that does come up, I have to zone out because I got nothing left in the tank. So this is helping a lot.
I'm so
The
glad.
other thing that occurred to me is that the idea of just picking something and making it the right thing. Tammy, you said that beautifully. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, that's what's been in my brain. Um, so I I know that like again, based on my specific research of my cycle and my
Hmm.
hormone things that are happening, perimenopause and all of that fabulous stuff.
Wonderful.
Um, I
Both of us.
have about 10 days before my mental shit hits the fan. And so I just I need some thoughts to get me through that. I feel like I've been accessing them a little bit bigger, a little bit better lately where I can recognize that it's temporary and I can move through it. But there's still like all the overwhelmed feelings that are there that I just want to release them because I know it's temporary. I just need
Yeah.
help staying in that.
Well, let's give your brain a date. Okay. So we gotta give when your brain is like, I need safety, I like to get certainty and facts. So it's like drama's a coming. Let's get data.
Yeah.
How so you want to launch a mini course in April. What is the goal of that mini course?
The goal is to have lower a lower access product that I can still have interaction with people that will lead into a funnel for one-to-one.
Look,
My time frame right now to be within this job is like through July. And so I don't want to push a lot of one-on-one. I don't want to sell a lot of one-on-one right now because I know I just won't have the bandwidth to do it well.
so how many people do you within this mini course?
Hmm.
It's like we're gonna think about this as like a learning time.
Okay.
Like we're just like using this and we're like, okay, we know that we're gonna do this later. This is my like if you give your brain a goal and we also know how long are these mood swings going to last, then it can give us like, okay, so what do I need to plan for? Is it social media? Is it this? It's like, what do I need to actually like make sure I've got planned for? And you mentioned like you were like, what thoughts can I think to get through days coming? It's like I want to know what like result you want for the days coming, and then we'll have the thoughts. I
Okay.
think then you can access the thoughts. So I
Okay.
asked you like 4 questions. First question, mood swings. How long will it last? It's coming in 10 days. And
Uh, let me pull up my handy dandy file that
like
I've been
pull up,
keeping.
I was like,
I legit, you guys, like this has been plaguing me for over
and
a
as
year.
women, I'm like so honored to be all of your coaches because I think that we can talk about this in an environment where it's like, yes, like this is like something that we're going to face instead of being
Yeah.
like ignoring it and trying to pretend that we are men. Like, let's talk about it and like figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to support myself better through those moments so that I don't feel bad about it. Like
Yes.
there's
There's,
nothing wrong with it.
and we just need to not plan in the way that men plan because our
Right.
hormones have cycles. So
Right.
you've got a mood swing that's coming on 3/15.
That's, yep.
It is going to be awesome. We're gonna be here to support you through it. When do they typically
Okay.
end?
Let's see. I've got one, two.
Yes.
Let's call it 6 days. That's what it's looking like.
Okay. Okay, so we've got
Jeez.
3/15 to 3/21. Okay, so we're like, okay, we've got 6 days. That's really okay. It's like interesting because it's like we got 6 days of mood swing and 10 days ahead of time. You're like, this it just like notice that your brain is like, it's just interesting. Now, what kind of
Yeah.
things if we're thinking about your goal with your launch, it's like,
Mhm.
how could these 6 days of swing be like, what is the goal that you're concerned it's gonna take off course? In a way.
So I know that there is quite a lot from a like tasky content perspective to put together to have this launch. It'll be 4 weeks away. It's going to be after um my assistant comes back from her vacation. So um
Which will be, hold on. Is it gonna be
April, she's
one?
back April 2nd, I believe. So I think I was planning for the following week, April 9th,
Nice.
April 8th. Mhm.
Okay. So if we've got a launch starting on the 8th, right? How many are you gonna have? Like, it's like there's some like just tactical things that you want to figure out. Like, how long is the open cart gonna be? Am I gonna do
Right.
closed cart? Like, am I gonna close the cart on this day? It's like, what if the 8th to the 12th could be it? And like, it's like, what kind of things do you want that to look like?
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
So I like, so then I think that's why your brain is like, I have to get everything prepared, but I don't know what everything is. I'm like, let's just like figure it out. So
Yeah.
within this, I think that a cool way to have a mini course and things like this launch is to do what I would recommend for anybody who wants to launch something is a 5-day launch, open cart
Okay.
with a webinar, and then close cart on Friday to give people incentive, urgency, and scarcity to buy. For lack of better words. I've just found I've launched, this is gonna be my 5th time launching, and I've also watched other people launch, and I'm like, people need a very short open cart window. So
Okay.
so we got the 8th through what day did I say? The 12th?
I think it was the 12th. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the
Yeah.
8th through the 12th, you are going to have this open cart for this launch. I would recommend creating a webinar to do on the 8th.
Okay.
And this is just because you don't know what you don't know. And that's why you're paying me to be like, here's just one way to launch. There are multiple ways to launch. So
Yeah.
actions would be to make a webinar before the 8th. Doesn't need to be done before the 15th when the mood swing will start. We probably want to tell people a webinar is happening. Probably.
Okay.
So we want to create content seeding webinar from the week of the 1st to the 7th. We probably also want to create content for the week of the 8th to the 12th.
Okay.
And we can help you with all these things, right?
Okay.
And these all do not need to be done right now. I would say if you know in 10 days you're going to have this, we can get as much of this done as possible.
Okay.
And we also want to think about how to create content for this 6-day span.
Right.
So
That's where I keep getting totally just like thrown off the tracks.
so have you done a webinar before? I forget.
Yes.
Okay. So I would say if we are going to take these and prioritize things, right? Okay. The first thing, it's like we know we need to create content until the 1st as well. Between now and the 1st, it's going to be about 25 days of content. Okay. With that, 25 days of content, prioritizing the 10-day, or it's like the 15th to the 21st. As like, we got to make sure that gets done. This is where I would start. It doesn't need to be 25 days of content. Like, it doesn't need to be like, I need to do a post every single day. I would just say until the 1st, this here, I would recommend doing a couple of posts a week. You know, my recommendation is 3 posts, 3 reels, that kind of a setup. And
Mhm.
your help could do that for you.
They're already working on it. That's what I asked them to do this week was to like look at what I've done, look at what I've saved, and then kind of give me their aesthetic so that we can work from there.
Okay, so let's have them come up with content that they pitch to you on maybe the 11th
Okay.
and be like, hey, could you pitch me some content ideas for my social media using you can give them the login for this, that's totally fine, using Chat GPT. And I've got an example to tell you guys about like what happened this weekend and how I had to do my content for my launch. And I was like, we're just gonna do it like this. But it's like, just because like sometimes you're gonna know that shit's gonna hit the fan in advance. Other times it's just gonna happen. You're gonna be like, well, I'm not moving my
Yeah.
launch, so here we are. So within this, it's like I would have them. So it's like we know we need to do this. We want to prioritize this. Okay. So I would say, team, can you pitch me these? And it will probably be like 20 days of content for what I call a pre-launch. Making sure you hit all of your and I would say like it's probably gonna be like 25, 27 days of content because it's gonna be from the 11th, 3/11 to 4/7. Like this is what I would like to have. By the way, you're gonna need to create content seeding the webinar here. If you could get me at least the content through the 1st by the 11th. Meet with team on 11th. Be like, hey, can you pitch this for me? And then I also am going to need for you to create content for the week of the launch. This is what it's going to look like. I will tell you what the webinar's title is later. And I would also like communicate with your team. So it's like we want to communicate with the team and meet with the team and give them perspective. This is my expectation from, it's like create general content from the 3/11 to 4/1. Create content seeing the webinar 1/7. Create content for the week of this selling course. Was it a course, a mini course? Okay. I would also communicate with your team. The reason why we're talking about this, first off, it's like that's how I kind of want to show up as a leader. Is like I want to tell you about my bigger plans. And I would also talk with them about your goals, but I would also communicate with your team. During this week, I'm probably not going to feel my best. So if we could for sure have the content done by Friday, that would be great for me.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome.
Then we can choose a time. The way I like to do my webinars, if you've done one before, it makes it a little bit easier. You don't necessarily have to do it a month in advance. And you can be like, I'm going to come up with something great. No idea what it is, but I know that I can talk with Megan through the webinar next Tuesday if you want. We can.
Yeah.
And we've got that on the docket, right?
Okay.
You've already
Awesome.
given the perspective. So it's like, let's choose that this is all you need to sign people. And how many people would you want to sign in this mini course? What would be fun?
15 would be fun.
Okay, 15 people. Okay. So I want you to think about like communicate that with your team. I want to make sure that you've got this. What would you need to feel instead of, I think there's a little bit of scare. Like, first off, how does that feel seeing, oh, it's like, this is doable?
Yeah. Like I feel like now with knowing that I have them, and I mean, I'm saying this without even seeing anything they've done for me yet. It's just the idea of having the ability to outsource this piece makes me feel so confident that I can focus on creating a really fucking great webinar and actually be putting myself out there.
And like talk to people. Yeah. And
Yeah, like that's what I like to do.
Yes, like we can, if anyone else is interested in hiring a team member, and I would like to say, full disclosure, I've only worked with 3 people who are under this one VA, but they are from the Philippines. They're delightful, and they can either work for $8 an hour or they can do $10 an hour. And just by me working with her for, I'm paying her 200, she's working for me 25 hours a week. She was able to quit her full-time job.
It's amazing.
For working for me for $250, gave her the ability to quit her full-time job and go on trips every month with her mom and her kids. And I'm like, so
That's
just so you can know that
phenomenal.
discrepancy, like 250 to you might be like, that doesn't seem like a lot of money. To them, it actually is. And it could create a really beautiful relationship with those people, with not those people. Oh my God, that sounds so weird. But like within, like, it's like within your employees being like, okay, this is like a different kind of situation. And I'll let you know how it goes. May just started working for me yesterday, and she's delightful. I love her already. Like, same kind of feeling. I was like, I love this already. I'm like 25 hours a week. I'm like, I have her working for me for 6 hours and 15 minutes a week. And I've broken that down for her. I'm like, here's what my expectations, here are my systems for each, here's this, here's that. And so far, so good. It's like seeming like it's working pretty well. So
That's
within
awesome.
that, right? It's like, I think that like, that just goes for anyone that wants to hire people. But if all you have to do is, and they're probably, we know that like people probably aren't going to be you. They might say, like, in their social media, it might not be like ideal, but they're cranking out something. I'm like, I could give 2 shits if it's from chat, if you can post it for me and I can actually get consistency.
Yes,
We love
that's
that.
exactly where I'm at. Yeah.
You know, so if you're thinking like, okay, I would love to help 15 people with this mini course, how do you want to feel as you go into this mood swing?
Hmm. I want to feel, I don't even know how to put this into words. I want to feel like I have my own back. Like, like I've, like I've set myself up to allow the space for that for myself.
And what you think about like, I mean, it's grounded,
Yeah, that's a good
clear,
one.
you know what I mean? So I
Hmm.
want you like, it's like, and then,
And I think confident too, in like my
yes,
ability to manage it ahead and manage it after, and to have that time doesn't mean that I can't get everything else done.
it's like, actually, I'm going to have this time and get it done even better
Yeah,
than if I push through. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's like I'm supporting myself as a badass CEO, and I'm going to take this time. It's just Friday through Wednesday too. So it's like this is like the perfect time for you to have like
yeah.
a situation like this. It's like this is totally gonna work for me. I'm only gonna have 3 working days that I'm gonna be in a funk, and I'm gonna tell my team that ahead of time, and I'm gonna be good.
And I would be curious actually to pay attention to if that number of days was shortened significantly by approaching it this way.
I wonder, I bet it, and just like kind of like going into it being like, I'm gonna have shit 6 days. It's gonna be
Yeah,
the woat, and it's totally fine. I've had
yeah,
all these days before this. I make it through every time. I know my brain's gonna freak out. I'm gonna get extra coaching. I'm gonna make sure I reach out to people to support me and allow myself to have a moment and then
yeah,
work through it.
yeah.
But how does this
Thank you.
feel?
So good.
So
Like
proud of you.
I legit feel like I am making CEO decisions right now.
I want you to write, it's like I make CEO decisions.
Yeah,
I'm making and I will make, and I am like, because I'm a badass CEO.
yeah.
So
That feels
good.
really good. Thank you.
And Tammy said, like, it's easy enough. Like, oh, yeah, the tone of your voice has completely changed. Like it's just like if you watch this back, you'll be like, oh, which you don't have time for right now. But if you did, you could see it. You could see a shift and it'd be fascinating. And it's like everything. And also the stuff with chat, it's like, I think that honestly, between your first 6 figures, it's about consistency and just like getting your shit out there, getting something out there. And once you get past that point, then you can start to prioritize that and be like, okay, like the purpose of writing good copy and the purpose of getting really good marketing out there is to go from a cold person who's never met you before to a warm. But a lot of times what I found with the first 6 figures is it's like it's a lot about the relationship building that you
Yeah.
start to do that in a more organic way at a one-to-one versus a one-to-many level. And if you can take that time and also like talk to humans, that's really where these 15 people are going to come from. And you're prioritizing that.
Yeah. And the shift I had knowing that I'm not just putting off the consistency of posting, but I'm actually handing it off to someone who is going to make sure it happens is allowing me to now look at my schedule and go, okay, I have that 30 minutes. I can jump on Instagram and engage with people instead of, scrolling and finding how everybody else is doing it in a way that I wish I was doing it. Like,
Facts. Well,
yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
So dang good. This is awesome. Of course, of course. And I feel like this is like, I seriously like hope other people go back and look at this because it's like, it just makes you feel so much more in control. So I love this.
There's a lot of really good stuff from this call. Like your coaching for Missy was like I have to go back and rewatch that because I was cooking my soup and I'm like, this is all so good.
You're like, dang, the soup, tomato
My
bits,
soup was
what?
also my soup was fire. Like I wish you guys lived closer because I would totally bring you some. It was freaking delicious.
I would love that. Oh my God. We need to have like a time when we all meet. I
Will
know
you do
it
a
might be,
retreat or something? I will totally be there.
might be in the works.
That
Who
would be
knows?
amazing. Okay, I have to go get the kiddo. Thank you guys
Okay.
so much.
I love you.
I'll see
Have
you
a
next
blast.
week.
Give your kids some love. And we'll
Okay,
see you soon. Sharon, start us off with a win. And I've got 14 minutes of badass coaching for you right now.
Yes. So I held my webinar, which meant I did a lot of first. So it went well.
Yes.
I sent you the video and then also had some questions for you. So
Bring it. Oh, also, the thing that I realized is, so what I didn't tell, I hope that Jess still watches this back. For my content, I take a lot of random videos of just panning on like trips and stuff like that. And like, there's this thing called B-roll that just for anyone for your content, that's my entire launch is literally just B-roll and trip pics. I'm like literally like not talking at all because I felt so sick this weekend. I literally was just like, Tess, you're gonna do what you can. And it's just like fascinating. So it's like, even when things come up, I forgot to tell Jess that. And that's what made me think of that. I was like, a lot of firsts, love this. What are your questions? Sorry, that was
So-
ADHD.
well, and just for clarification, what you just said, B-roll. So you weren't talking about anything. You were just recording. I didn't quite follow.
Yes. So B-roll is behind the scenes roll. You can have it while you're doing any work. You can have, like, I had somebody record this for me. Like, so I had somebody, like, I was with some friends and like, I just had me working in like different random environments. And this is my whole launch minus the testimonials. Is like me in action. That I got of me like doing stuff.
Okay.
Like, so yeah.
Okay.
And like, if you look at my marketing calendar, like I literally was just like me talking to Jess, me in my blue dress typing, me laughing with Tara, creeping. I was like, it's literally all just like either that or it's video AI from this webinar.
Okay. And I'm glad you brought up your marketing because I was just looking at that myself. So I want to make sure I understand something. So I did my webinar and I want to get into testimonials. I have questions to that, but when I did, so when you were just looking at it, so personal story, like you want to post on your personal story. So my posts were all basically about my webinar.
Yep.
However, even when you're getting ready for your, like you're posting on a webinar and it's the warm, cold, and hot, is it personal story, training, and results share? Because I was just looking at, I was going
Yep.
back to, okay,
Learn in the webinar, not necessarily a tool, but like 3 steps to accelerate your second quarter would be
okay,
the topic of this. It's like you will learn why you're not why the first quarter might not have gone as planned, what you can do in the second quarter to make it faster, and create a plan to like move forward or something like that. You
okay,
don't tell them, like usually in warm posts you teach. So that would be like take 5 breaths, like that, something like that, that's implementable, or a
okay,
fast or something like that. And then this is a testimonial. Like I worked with a client and they got this result. I'm teaching you the exact same thing on the webinar. You should come.
okay. Okay. Because well, again, I am learning. And
It's
so,
learning. Yeah.
yeah, so I can do that better next time. Okay. And then testimonials. So that's where I wanted to go with. So twofold is one, so I can provide a testimonial to you. So that's going to be a learning experience for me. And then getting testimonials from my client and other people that I've coached.
Mhm.
So I looked at the sheet. So my question is, what's the best approach to do that? And I saw it when I was watching your when I was watching your testimonials that you shared in your webinar. One thing I noticed is I think you do want to have time sometimes when you just have a picture and you have copy, plus that might be the only way they're comfortable.
Mhm.
And then you want to have it where they could film themselves and send that to you. So I'm just, since this is me approaching this for the first time, I just need a little bit more guidance.
Yep. I'm giving you
Yeah, so
I would say ranking.
I have your template pulled up
So
and
I'd
it
say like
talks about, go ahead.
the best one is video. If you can get a video, it's very helpful for people. That would be, it's like 95% people say if they give a video of somebody talking about results and they see it, and they see just like Siobhan, who's a friend of mine, recommended this lady Kathleen and her webinar. I took Siobhan's word like to heart, and I'm probably gonna buy from this Kathleen lady.
Mhm.
The research shows that if somebody were to see a video of Katie, who they've in or Patty, that they have never met before, it gives them the same resolute trust that that person can get results as an actual friend. So that's why is like a really great thing that you can do. And what I would recommend, I'm seeing that like Missy and you talked. I'm seeing that Anise and you talked. Anyone in here can give you a testimonial and be like, Sharon gets results. Because what we want to do is we want to prompt other people to normalizing videos and being like, oh, if this random other person can talk about it, maybe I could too, and it wouldn't be weird.
Right. And I was looking at doing that for them too, because I went to, like Anise and I have gone over pillars and all different kinds of things. And I
Yes,
went to Missy's coaching and her and I talked prior to this. Yes.
1,000,000%. I would highly recommend ask anybody. And if like, obviously that's not why you're in this group, but like, I think it's a benefit.
Right.
Then,
Well, no, and at the same time, I mean, I've coached people my whole life. So I know that people, even though I haven't done it for work, that's what I've pretty much done. So,
yes, ask all of the humans. Okay. So
yeah.
what we want to do, video is the best. If you can ask people to do that for you, I think that would be the best standard. Then the next levels is if you can have a picture of yourself and talk about it. I did that with Vindia, she and Amy, 2 of my amazing clients.
I think also though you mentioned, I think it'd be good to get a picture of them and then have the words, because I think on a slideshow presentation, I think it's better. Like if you do a webinar, and I thought it was impactful to have their picture up there and then the headshot or whatever it is, and then have some of their words when that fits, and then when the video fits at different times. And I think definitely on your website you can do both, or when you're posting you can do both. But I just thought sometimes, like you shared, I think in your webinar, the picture of one of your clients and then what she said, and I thought that was helpful, where I thought that that fit there versus a video I don't think would have.
Yeah, and I've seen it done both ways. I've
Yeah.
done it both ways. I've actually had live testimonials come.
I've seen that.
You actually kind of were one accidentally for this last one. You were like, yeah, Missy, I totally joined. And like Missy was like, all right, I think I'm on join too. And I'm like, I love that. Like it was like so unintentional, but like I
Yeah.
actually have asked people to come on, and like Armony, Holly, and Teresia actually in our group, because
Yeah.
Teresia is my one-on-one client as well. And she is paying for the mastermind as well. And she came on, and you'll see her in my emails, the video that she did, and I can share that with you guys like as a live testimonial. That's great picture, and you talk about it. Then the next standard is like the name. So if you first last just the first name, I want to tell you about Shelby. Shelby is one of my amazing clients, and I just want to read to you what she wrote because I feel like you might be feeling this as well. When Shelby worked with me, she said that like the biggest breakthrough she had was this. One of the reasons that what she's going to take with her from coaching is this. And she said, a reason that you guys should start is this. Now, these are her words. Feel free to reach out to her if your client says that. And I would love for you to create these results too. Please, it's like, if this is something you're interested in doing, book a consult. Love you, Tammy. Then the last piece, if you just have a client story, is like, I want to show you the difference that working in the career fulfillment roadmap blueprint. Wait, shit, which one is it?
Career fulfillment roadmap.
Roadmap. I was right the first time.
Yeah.
I was like, in Canva, you can actually get pictures of randos. And you could actually, in your LinkedIn posts, you could be like, I've got a like this. You could be like in Canva, which is a way that you can create
I have
topics.
created in Canva. I created my posts for LinkedIn in Canva.
You could have some that's cheesy, but like, you know what I mean? It's like I want to tell you about my amazing client this week and the things that they created. And it's like this is like their story, not a picture of a person. Just like I get clients results. And this is a face that is not my face.
I'm not sure I follow that. What?
So if let's say I knew that Lauren got amazing results this week, and
Okay.
Lauren didn't have a picture that she felt comfortable with me sharing.
Okay.
Or
I see. Yeah.
you just put a picture of a random person.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I see what you're saying, because not everybody's necessarily, like, I had people share comments with me before, but they just were giving me their first name. So I think,
and you can use that, still use
yes.
that, and
Yeah.
use a random picture of a person.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to ask, so my client I have now, I'm going to ask her, and she's getting amazing results. I mean, it's so interesting because since we've been coaching, started in mid-January, she's like came from our consult where certain things she was at a 3 or 4, she's at 9s and 10. Like she's really happy and some of that, which is great. It's just, I know it's like if people like, I know she can do like, we all can be technology challenged sometimes. So I just want to make it simple and comfortable. And just like mine with you, I kind of, I think I'm overthinking it and I just need to do it.
I love that. And maybe get a niece or Missy, people who are used to recording videos and stuff, ask them to do one first. And another thing that I used to do way back in the day, if you scroll all the way back, is I would do Instagram lives with my clients. Like the very beginning, if you scroll you're not on Instagram, so I can just send this.
No, but I'm planning on joining.
Yeah.
I had to get the webinar out of the way, and LinkedIn, like
it's a lot of learning curves. Take it one step at I was like, you're doing such a freaking awesome job. I was like, take it just one step at a time. You're doing amazing. And I had some clients that like, actually, I probably have it sooner. Yeah. I had Jess come onto my Instagram live, and
I've seen this one. You posted it somewhere else too.
Yeah. So then you could do that with her and be like, would you feel comfortable? It's like just going on live, and I'll just like answer, like I'll just like ask you questions, and it's just like the two of us, but like just so other people can hear it, because I know it can become funky. It could work for her too.
Okay. Okay. So you wrote, I was just going over this. You had Okay, so I'll just have questions. I'll format questions just like kind of like what you did for the group of
It's like
what
the
do you
exact
love,
same questions.
yeah, what do you love most about working together and all of that? Okay.
And I'm gonna put that in. It's like, I'm so sorry I haven't included that. I'm just gonna share this with you. It's the new testimonial template. And so it's like, my name is biggest accomplishment, what I've learned. I'm excited to.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, sounds good. I think we did it.
We did it. Amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna send this to everybody. Just posted it. And I love you dearly. This was so good. Please
Yes.
let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you so soon. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.